And a developing story that we're following right now for you. U.S. fighter jets dropped bombs on militants firing at Kurdish forces defending Ibro. We will continue to update you on this story all morning. Meanwhile, the Yazidi people, of Iraq are now getting relief supplies from the U.S. as hundreds of thousands of Iraqis flee the grips of ISIS. That is the very latest, and we'll continue to follow the story all throughout the morning and bring you the very latest details. Now, down to the main story on Newsmax.com. As we mentioned, U.S. airdrops, which include food and water, have already begun to help the people of Iraq. The Sunni extremist group known as ISIS is declaring an Islamic State throughout much of Iraq. And now the al-Qaeda offshoot is eyeing the city of Erbil, which is home to about 1.5 million people, many of whom are ethnic minorities, and where airstrikes took place earlier today. Well, Obama interrupted primetime television last night to deliver what some say was a very unexpected statement on the situation in Iraq. And I guess we're not going to hear that, but maybe we will shortly. Now over to Moscow, where Russian bombers with nuclear capabilities are flying near American and Canadian airspace. Russian military aircraft has now prompted cautionary intercepts by American warplanes for the second time since June. At least 16 Russian advances into northern American airspace have been reported in the past 10 days. A U.S. official says although these bombers regularly fly in that region, there has been a spike in activity in it lately. Israel is now resuming airstrikes once again in Gaza, this after Hamas fired multiple rockets as a 72-hour ceasefire came to an abrupt end. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned of a forceful response, and now Palestinians are once again fleeing their homes. An Israeli military spokesperson says Israel will continue to strike Hamas, its operatives, and its infrastructure in order to restore security to the state of Israel. Now on to the other big story that we're following today. The World Health Organization has now declared the Ebola outbreak to be an international health emergency. This according to another top story on Newsmax.com. The announcement was made this morning as the deadly virus has now claimed nearly 1,000 lives throughout Western Africa. Chief of the World Health Organization says countries affected do not have the capability to manage an outbreak of this size and complexity.
This is the largest, most severe, and most complex outbreak in the nearly 4-decade history of this disease.
Overworked hospital staff continue to struggle over how to control this epidemic, and in some cases, those doctors and nurses end up becoming the virus's frontline victims.